The look that I'm going to be demonstrating now on Jess is a smoky eye look, great for parties. I'm just going to apply a small amount of foundation onto Jess's eyelids. So I'm just going to place a small dot there and work that into the eye. Just using the pad of my finger, gently working the product out. And this is going to create a base for the eyeshadow to sit on. Now I'm just going to lightly dust over Jess's eyes with some MAC blot powder. Again, this is just to create a base. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to place some MAC's Naked Pigment just below the brows. So that's going to act as a highlighter. Just a small amount before I start adding the darker colours to make this lovely smoky look. What I'm doing now is I've just used a bit of MAC's Black Track. I've used it on the back of my hand and I'm going to use a 266 brush just to place this along near the eyelashes and the root of the eyelashes. Now you don't have to be too specific about this colour because what I'm going to do is blend it in using a 219 brush, which is a pencil brush in fact. I'm going to smudge that out, so just placing the product along the roots of the lashes and then smudging it out. Just working this colour out, smudging it over the eye, ready for the eyeshadow to go over. For Jess's smoky eye, what I'm going to use is a Dior palette, and within these colours there's a lighter grey colour, and I'm going to use that first within the socket line and smudge the colour out. So it's going to go over the smudged Black Track which I've already used. So just working it into the socket gently. You might have noticed that in fact what I'm doing is actually working on Jess's eyes first before the skin. And when you're working with really dark colours like this, the reason being is because quite often you get some sort of flaking onto the skin. So it's much easier to have a really lovely, clean, fresh look and clean all of that sort of flaky residue of the colour away afterwards, rather than trying to do that once you've created your beautiful skin. So what in effect I'm doing is actually layering this colour. I'm placing the eyeshadow over the top of the Black Track because the Black Track is actually a gel, and because this is a powder it actually fixes onto the colour better. So if you always think about using perhaps a cream and then placing a shadow over the top of it, you get a better finish, or it lasts longer or stays in place longer. Again, from the Dior palette, I'm now going to the darkest colour, the darkest grey, and just working that along the lash line. So what we've got is a dark colour going into a mid-range colour and going into a light colour. But what I actually did is I worked with the lightest colour first and ended with the darkest colour, as opposed to being the other way around. Because we're creating a party look here, I'm going to use some of this glitter to really give it a lovely sparkly look. And because it's quite flaky, again, that's another reason why I wanted to do the eyes first before the skin. So I'm just dabbing it on the pad of my finger and just dabbing it onto the centre of her eye. Because if any little bits should go on her skin, we can just wipe that all away afterwards. And I'm going to do that also before I've done the mascara, because if I did the mascara first, actually what would happen is it would then just go all over the mascara. But this is really beautiful, this. Using this 205 brush, I've already applied some mascara onto this disposable mascara wand for hygiene purposes. I'm now going to come over the top of Jess and just place the mascara on the top of her lashes. It's an area that lots of people forget about. Making sure that I get right down to the roots. And you can probably see now why I did the glitter before I put any mascara on, because what would happen is all this glitter would then stick to the lashes. Okay, just look up at me. I'm now going to apply some primer onto Jess's skin. It's made by Dior and it's called Nude Glow. Primer is going to create a base for the foundation, so it's really important that you use a primer before using any foundation on the skin. Just blending the primer over the surface. Just look up for you, Jess. Now just applying the foundation, and generally when I apply foundation what I tend to do is work in a T shape or in a cross, so I've just put little dots of the foundation in that area and I'm now just going to work it into the skin, just very lightly, pushing the foundation into the skin and working around the nose area. Making sure that when we're using the foundation that it's really working down the skin and that there's no lines around the jawline, any telltale indications. But what I need to do as well in a minute is to work the foundation in using a brush. So now using this 187 brush, just really working through, making sure that we've got a really lovely blended finish. Just look up for me. I'm now going to use this brilliant product which I've come across recently. It's called Touche Veloute by Terry. It's an under eye concealer. So you use it like a pen, so it just comes through the brush. I'm just going to place it underneath the eye, brushing it on gently, and then working it through afterwards with the fingertips. Just using a white pencil just to highlight certain areas in the corner of the eye, just below the brow bone. Going back to our little pencil brush and working that in. The idea of using this white pencil is to really kind of give a nice bright finish to the corner of the eye. I'm going to use a cream blusher on Jess now, so I'm just going to, on the apple of the cheek, working the product out. And this is a cream based product, which I think gives a fresher finish to say powder based products. I'm just going to highlight along the cheekbone area, just to lift that. So I'm just going to put on these false eyelashes now. So I just need you to close your eyes now, Jess. So having dipped the lash in the glue, just need to dry it off a little bit. Important to actually remember to dry the glue off, because it then makes it a little bit more tacky. If you put it straight on wet, you probably find it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get it to stay. I've just placed on one of the false eyelashes just to demonstrate what it looks like and the difference that it makes when actually having false eyelashes. So you can see one of the eyes actually has it and the other doesn't. Once Jess has got her eyes shut, I was waiting for the glue to dry on the lashes before she opens her eyes. I'm just going to take advantage of this moment and do the lips. And firstly, I've just covered the lips with a little bit of foundation because she's actually got quite highly coloured lips. So having done that, I'm now just going over the outside edge with a lip pencil to create the shape. And I'm going to fill the lips in. So I'm kind of creating a base using the lip pencil actually. And the first colour that I used on the shape of the outside of the lips was a sort of a browny shade, and now I'm filling the lips in with a pinker shade. This particular pencil is a Gemma Kid pencil and it's actually dual ended, so we've got sort of a browny colour one end which I started with lining the lips with that, and the other end is a pinky shade which I'm using as a base or primer, so just filling the lips in with that particular colour before I use the lipstick. So I'm just filling the lips in now with some lipstick. We need to keep this quite a light colour because when you've got strong eyes, something like a smoky eye look, it's better to have a less obvious lip or one that isn't strong. That's the general rule of thumb, that you use a lighter colour in the lips when the eyes are dark. So I've used a pretty pink shade. And I'm just going to put some gloss over the top of that. So I'm just applying the gloss on the back of my hand. And what I'm going to do with this gloss is just put a small amount in the centre of the lips. That will really bring those lips out. So I'm not actually applying it all over, just in the centre. Just to create an even stronger lip shade, I'm just going to use a small amount of concealer along the edge of the lips. That just strengthens the shape and highlights that area. Now, again, to further strengthen this sort of lip shape, what I'm just going to do is just go in there with some highlighter. Across that sort of, about creating the illusion of light falling on the top of the lips. I'm just going to finish the eye look off now. I'm going to use a little bit of this Dior, the darker colour. So I'm going to place a tissue here now, underneath there. And the reason that I'm using the tissue, because obviously with a really sort of dark colour like this, there's every chance that it's going to go on the skin, and that's exactly what we don't want, so just protecting the skin there. Just to finish Jess's eye look off, just using some kohl, just on the inside of the eye there. Just get a really lovely, strong, smoky look. Just finishing Jess off by just putting some powder just down the centre. Having almost finished Jess's eyes off, I then went onto the skin and we used the Dior primer first before using the foundation. So I applied the foundation over the whole skin, ensuring that I had a really nice blend, and then when I did that we used the terry underneath the eyes just to conceal that area. I then worked on concealing specific areas around her face, working around the nose, just ensuring that these sort of areas are covered if they need to be. Having then done that, I then worked on the blusher, just highlighting the cheekbones area here and here. And then we worked on her lips, just creating the outline before filling the lips in and putting on the lipstick. I finished Jess's eyes off very much last of all because I didn't want any of that dark shadow to go on the skin underneath here. So I placed some of the shadow underneath the eyes and then finished it off with some kohl. And just lastly, I placed some loose block powder just down the centre of her face just to take off any excess shine.